out. And now we will dive into the first DTO case of the day. We will do it with a wonderful speaker who will share his thoughts on his DTO project and how IKEA brings in the DTO in your work. Welcome, Marcus Engberg from IKEA.
Thank you very much. Now we go from black and blue suits to flower shirt. Yeah, the title of this is Putting a Digital Twin to Work. I come from a part of IKEA called Range and Supply Digital. I will tell you a little bit more of IKEA because, of course, I also need to enlighten you, because I guess all of you know IKEA, right? But it's a complex world out there. But we're trying to make sense of it. So I'll start with, this is IKEA. IKEA is a very well-known brand, of course. In most countries in the Western world, you can find the blue boxes in our bigger cities. But we are also on a journey. We also see the digital transformation and other things happening around us. And for that reason, we are also trying out a few concepts, trying to look into the future. Where are the others going, and so on. But a little bit about the IKEA concept. This is actually where it started, in 1943. This is Ingvar Kamprad's small little mail order business. It is quite some time ago. At that point, it wasn't even furniture. It was ball pens, matches. He was a true entrepreneur. But going from there, we have a very clear vision, and I want to share that with you because that can perhaps give you some understanding as well what we are actually about. Our vision is not to sell furniture per se. It is to create a better everyday life for the many people. And when we say for the many people, the business idea is about to offer a wide range of well-designed functional home furnishing products at prices so low that as many people as possible will be able to afford them. So we have chosen to side with the people with a thin wallet. Now, we have a concept in IKEA that we are very proud of: democratic design. It sounds very big, and to us it is. We always design everything with these 5 dimensions in our mind. Every product must fulfill quality, sustainability, form, low price, and function criteria. We have actually also tried now to apply this a bit on our digital product development. So we also have a concept there, and you can actually apply this basically on anything that you develop. But at IKEA, since we are for the many people, low price is perhaps our key ingredient there as well. Then I said IKEA. I know that there are some people from IKEA here in the audience today. IKEA is not one company, it is one brand. IKEA consists of many companies, but I wanted to show you this part. I said I'm from Range and Supply Digital. So basically we work on assignment of the IKEA franchisor. So IKEA is a franchise system. Inter-IKEA Systems BV is the franchisor who have given the assignments to the companies that I have chosen to highlight because that is where we work within Range and Supply. IKEA of Sweden, responsible for product development, the whole range assortment. IKEA Communications AB, media production, the catalog. And finally, IKEA Supply AG, the wholesale company, and also the purchasing and logistics company. Together we serve a number of franchisees. If you go to the, I don't know where all of you guys live, but if you go to the Malmö store or any other store in Sweden, you are likely to shop from IKEA. IKEA is by far the biggest franchisee. It's also the company that Ingvar Kamprad actually founded and has retail stores in, I think, basically in 40 countries or something like that. So it's really huge. But we also have other franchisees. The latest addition to our franchisees is Falabella, who will open up IKEA stores in South America, starting with Chile. So this is a little bit, and I want to show you this as well, because when I talk about a DTO at IKEA, I'm not thinking of the whole IKEA, right? But you need to start somewhere. And we have then, within Range and Supply, played around with this idea a little bit. And I will tell you a little bit more about that. So, this is me. I like flowery shirts. Or my wife does. I have 2 kids, live north of Helsingborg. I've worked at IKEA for plus 6 years. I'm located in Helsingborg. I'm a very information and data-centric person. I studied at the Lund University and I have a master's degree in informatics. So that has always been my interest. Not the actual coding and programming, that was never interesting for me. It was the data modeling, and how you can actually make that data valuable to the business. That is what I am about. I've worked in a number of different positions, business analyst, where we work with requirement management. Since a few years back now, I am working as a project manager. So that is my current role. Well, enough about me. The concept of a digital twin of an organization that you've heard many thoughts around here today was not our starting point, to be honest. Our journey begins basically with having multiple master data initiatives within IKEA. As I said, IKEA is very big, very complex, many companies. So we have a number of initiatives with focus on product master data. We have another looking into direct material suppliers, yet another project looking into indirect material suppliers, another corporate master data within finance area, HR master data, and then here comes we, and we think about how do we now set about to focus on master data around our assignment within Range and Supply Digital. Meaning how can we capture master data about IT systems, solutions, assets, other things. Should we add another technology-driven project? Because that is basically what many projects are today. They are looking into a specific system, and the problem that comes with that is that we end up with silos. Because on the market today, there is a number of master data solutions, for sure, but they are very often quite specific, targeting a specific type of data. And about what you've heard here, connecting the dots and all of that, we understand it's really difficult, and it will cost a lot in integration. So we realized that we need to take this in a stepwise approach and start to look into a tool-independent concept of master data. And here, that is really important, tool-independent concept, because the concept how we treat master data does not necessarily require a system. But of course, to keep the data, I would like to see Tove keep all the colleagues' calendar in her head. So think about the master data that you would keep for IKEA. That would be completely impossible, of course, without a data system. But we also wanted to reuse as much as possible that already was there in IKEA today. The concept should have the aim as well to deliver business value through consistent master data. So it's not possible to create master data just for the sake of master data. What should you do with it, right? So what we did was we actually paired up with Ortelius to deliver a concept of master data consisting of a framework. I will go into detail more what these are about: a data concept, a reference model, a process, and governance. All of this to support the value chain. Now, of course, you can start by doing this for the totality of the company, or you can target a specific area. We think it makes more sense to start somewhere and do a proof of value. Looking into the framework, we came up with a few principles. First of all, master data is a subset of information and data management. It is not a separate discipline in itself. You need to align to information management principles that we already have in place. Then we said it would be good as well if we could have a principle that structure is something that we maintain centrally, and we keep quality, for example, that could be a part that we keep centrally, but content should, as much as possible, be maintained locally or embedded into the business. It should also be possible to scale the framework so it doesn't become organization dependent or tool dependent. And as I said, tool independent. And then finally, we had also, as a conclusion of this, a definition of master data. And you can choose any. I guess you can Google master data and you will find definitions of master data. We said, plain and simple, it's basic business information used across multiple processes and IT solution. This key business information is non-transactional by nature and is consistent over time. So that was kind of a criteria on master data. It's not that easy though to say that this piece of data is master data and this piece of data is not master data. Well, if you go on a spectrum, of course, there are certain candidates that for sure are master data and others are for sure not master data. But there is, of course, a scope in between that is a bit more gray, to be honest. And that we need to handle. Then data. We said master data can be, as any data basically, structured in 3 categories. So we had the first one called business concept master data, the ability to do groupings, definitions, connections, and even business rules. So this is, for example, a product categorization structure. That categorization in itself is a kind of master data as well. Then you will have specific master data, actual instances, for example, a product individual. If you buy an IKEA product, you get a flat pack, right? And then once you have assembled it, then you have a furniture. So what is the product in IKEA? Is it the flat pack with all of the tools within it, the assembly instruction? All of that goes into a product, right? But the finished result is your chair or whatever. Referential master data. There is also external data that we actually don't need to invent. That could be, for example, standard codes, either from ISO or some other organization. Or let's say zip codes. We don't invent the zip codes. Imagine if every company invented their own zip codes. Then we said we need some type of reference model. And this is kind of a backbone, just showing if we want to capture our business, what do we need data about? I think Tove talked about what do we need to know. So this helped us a little bit to what do we need to know? Well, we need to know about the market offer, our business relations, we need to understand product services, management control, and business partners. We need to have a grip on operations, not on a detail level. I mean, it's not to build any operational system here. It's more about how does our operation look like on a high level? What initiatives do we have? What type of processes do we have? And then finally, the resources. And that there we think this is something that will evolve over time as well. We'll add new boxes, we might rename them, and that should be possible because businesses change. But fundamentally, when we talk about master data, not much will actually change because information is your backbone of your company. And then finally, or not actually finally, but a process on top of that. Don't bother to read all the small notes. I just put it in as an example. We decided quite early that this is not a project, it's a journey. Of course, you can set up big programs or projects that drive this forward, but you need to understand that this is a journey that we are on. It's not something that will be ready by next year or next year. It's something that continuously will have to evolve. This process in itself is quite simple, could be applied to any type of data basically. It doesn't particularly link to any organization as well. It's quite generic. And then finally, governance. We have decided 4 different perspectives on governance: management control, people, technology, and process. And then basically 3 levels of governance. An MDM decision forum that makes the more strategic tactical decisions, an operational forum, and finally a data steward forum. So this is what we did then to develop together with Ortelius, this concept. Now our challenge was, of course, now that we had the concept, how do we apply this concept? Is there a clock somewhere except for behind there, so I know if I'm on time or someone will just, okay. Yeah, our challenge was then to apply this concept. How do we make this come alive? So we looked at our scope in Range and Supply Digital. At that time we were actually called something else, Business Solutions Range and Supply, but that doesn't matter. Our assignment then going forward is to lead and guide the totality of the Range and Supply digital landscape. So you can imagine what kind of things that are on top of our mind. How did we do then? Well, we looked into existing master data systems that we had in IKEA already. We realized that most of these, as I talked about earlier, they were targeting specific types of master data. It can be either product, customer, supplier, finance. Our colleagues in IKEA industry, they had chosen a different approach. They had gone for a more generic platform, as we saw it, from Ortelius called Inorigo. So we decided to start small, prove value, and build a proof of concept on Inorigo. Where we are now? Well, we have master data models to some extent. We have data, the ones that we have modeled, right? And we have also launched a navigation portal that we call Fakta. Typical IKEA thingy to call your product something Swedish, but we actually had even a jury who gave the motivation. I think it's very fine. Firstly, it's a name not bound by time or fashion that demystifies master data and make it very down to earth and concrete. Moreover, it's a name that conveys a message that what is there, no more, no less. It does not claim to be fully complete. Instead, it is open to adding more master data as needed. Finally, it is a name that fits in the total IKEA context, conveying Swedishness, a word we have invented, while being inclusive to non-Swedish speakers. So, that is what we have. IKEA Fakta. It looks like this. So you recognize the model. I have my collection. I have added myself as a favorite. It's not that I'm self-centered, hopefully, but yeah, I cannot show everything I have there. And then finally, data by category, and I chose to show you a few of the sites that we have. And on top of the whole thing, you see, what are you looking for? And that was a key thing as well in a navigation portal, to be able to search for data. Because data stored somewhere and not being open to public is not worth anything. So, delivering business value through consistent master data. What kind of value are we then delivering? I would say one source that can support harmonization of data across systems. We also have business prototyping capability through modeling with real instances. We have lately gone through reorganization, and we were able to adapt that modeling in Origo in a couple of hours, basically. We were able to change that. Recommendation: start small, prove value, then scale up. So, as our journey continues, the question now is, can we scale the concept that we brought forward in IKEA? We need to do some internal sales here as well. We think that the concept can be shared across. We might have different tools to capture and store master data, but perhaps we need some type of consolidation view. And that is a little bit where I will go into now what I think a DTO will be for us. Has it been easy? Well, I don't know, but master data creates a lot of energy, positive and negative. That is my data. No, this is my data. This is in this system and in no other system. We control this, and a lot of politics, right? You probably recognize it from your own organizations. So to avoid the conflict of this, we have actually focused more on the benefits of master data. So we don't talk that much about master data. Now we talk more about connecting silos, and we came up with the phrase digital representation of our business. Does this not resemble the concept of the digital twin? I think so. Remember, the concept of the digital twin of an organization was not our starting point. However, now we might have what I consider an embryo, at least, to a digital twin of an organization. We see this master data as a foundation to be able to create the consolidation view. And I would argue that a DTO is born. Then the question mark, of course, now you see we've got our own picture of a DTO. You might recognize it will be even bigger on the next slide, so maybe we go through it there. But of course, growing the concept of master data, because in order to have a DTO that is valuable, I believe that you need high quality data. And master data is supposed to be high quality data. So it's really a backbone and a foundation. So I think if we manage to scale up the master data concept, we can gradually build a digital twin of an organization. And now perhaps that in this bigger picture, you can recognize a few of the IKEA stuff, like our new veggie hot dog. It's 10 kronor at the store, healthy and vegetarian, vegan even. Yeah. Our proud collaboration with Sonos, the Symphonics speaker, really nice. The Allen key, Swedishness, we have it all in our DTO, right? Then I was asked a little bit to explain, but how do we then put this digital twin of an organization to work at IKEA? Well, I think we need to establish a number of different processes. First of all, we've seen here the talk about multiple digital twins, strategic digital twins, tactical digital twins. Even I saw some pictures on operational digital twins. I don't think we're there yet though. But we need to operationalize this digital twin. So I see it as this digital twin here being the one in production, the one that is our current DTO. What can we get out of that then? Well, we can use it for coordination, to coordinate, creating a common language, prioritize the right initiatives, the strategic dimension, strategic tactical. Furthermore, orchestration, harmonization of data across IT solutions. Because you know that you cannot just throw out all IT systems and bring in one, right? It doesn't work that way. But you can gradually at least ensure that you harmonize the data, that you have common definitions across IT solutions. We need to have governance in place, managing these digital building blocks as well. The difficulty with master data is not the data, it's the people. It's a people journey, and that you can never forget. Unless you get people motivated to keep and maintain high quality master data, it will fade out into a mess. And finally, with that production digital twin, we can create some outcome. BI analytics that you can trust, turn big data into actionable information, for example. Those are things that we can do. At the same time, we also need to all the time develop and change this digital twin. So I see this as also, you need to be able to play, basically. We need to play. Because as we heard, the world is changing around us. Unless we can predict, do scenario, prototyping, things like that, we will not be on top of the business anymore, right? So we need to be able to prototype, develop and expand via business prototyping. And I think that is one of the beauties of a digital twin. Because with a real organization, you cannot prototype. You cannot change people's job from one day to another. That's not how it works. We are quite slow on the human side. But our digital twin, that's where we can prototype, experiment, and then we maybe can see that this is something we actually would like to implement. But then we have at least done the business prototyping in our digital twin first. And finally, drive innovation. I think if we have more data, better data, data that makes sense, data that has a meaning, then you can also start to innovate due to insights that you will gain from that data. These are some still theoretical ideas. I think it will perhaps provide some input on where we are on our journey. And we are just taking our first steps. But it's really fun. And hopefully you see us all in a number of years, and we are an intelligent enterprise. I was opening up a little bit as well, if there is time, if you would like to. There is time.
There is a little time. If you have some questions, if we have sound, we have time. Any questions? The lady up front.
So I wanted to know, you talked about IKEA industry already having developed something.
Yes.
Do you have any interaction with them, trying to learn from their mistakes, or how is that working?
Absolutely. Yeah. IKEA industry started, I don't exactly know, but I think it is almost some 10 years ago. They have a bit of a different setup. You need to understand IKEA industry is also a supplier to IKEA. So our IT systems are not really built together. They have an ERP system, but what they lacked was a way to basically master their data, because the ERP system didn't have that capability. But of course, when we developed the concept, we looked very much to IKEA industry, and we sat together with the person responsible for the master data process in IKEA industry as well as the CIO, to get some insights from how they were using in Origo for mastering data.
I
So
have a
yes, we
question
did.
also, if sorry. How has Inorigo helped you become better? I mean, you have been working with Inorigo for many years,
Yeah.
and show me the money. Tell me, show me the money. Tell me what has been the best fruit that you've harvested.
I would say I've not yet seen that generic platform.
Yeah.
It's a completely generic platform. It becomes what you want it to become.
And you
So
don't
if you
see
want
that
it to
anywhere
be,
else. It's hard to find that.
unless you develop it yourself.
Yeah.
If you develop in Rigo yourself, but
Yeah.
that would take some time.
Any other question before we continue with the agenda? And you stole my point because you said that you are now a truly or intelligent enterprise. You've become, and you're on that journey. And
I think we are quite intelligent.
Yeah, I think
Otherwise, we
so.
wouldn't be where we are. But of course,
And maybe I'm not the only one thinking, we've all heard about how IKEA, a fantastic company, of course, how you have struggled with digitalizing. I can't say that in English, but we've heard of that, how you struggle with digitizing your business. But you guys must be quite popular in the boardrooms in a way because you really drive this, or?
well, you know, IKEA is not a typical boardroom company.
No, you're right. My bad.
But
Corridors.
no, but yes, there is quite some a lot of energy right now into digitalization. And what does that mean for us? It might mean something different for the parts of IKEA who works with retail, meeting the customer, for example. Whereas in range and supply, we work more with the range, the product development. But for sure, we need to be more digital in that area as well.
Thank you, Marcus
Thank
Engberg
you.
from the wonderful brand of IKEA. Thank you.
Thank you.